Time to introduce you all to the wonderful world of peplum cinema. I do enjoy a good peplum. What is a peplum, you may have asked? A peplum is a term used to describe a woman's overskirt, but it also refers to Italian sword and sandal pictures, predominantly released in the 1950s and 1960s. In this context, the term peplum is derived from the Latin word peplos, which refers to an ancient Greek garment. A peplum picture is typically, though not exclusively, an ancient Rome-era period piece. Many are also set in ancient Greece or in biblical times, but all attempt to mimic the successful period epics of the era. These pictures in question, typically Hollywood productions, include Samson and Delilah, Quo Vadis, The Robe, the Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur, Spartacus, and Cleopatra. One could identify the peplum wave as potentially the first wave of so-called Italian knockoffs. It directly preceded the Euro spy and the spaghetti western booms, those two markets essentially replacing that of the peplum films. But 1958 to 1965 is considered the dominant era of the peplum in the Italian film industry. Well, truth be told, the peplum inherited an established formative tradition of the Italian film industry insofar as it produced Greco-Roman period pieces, which Italian filmmakers had been attempting since the early 1910s, particularly amongst the catalogue of director Enrico Guazzoni. In addition to being period pieces, many pepla merely acted as strongman, machiste-inspired romps. For those who don't know, the 1914 Italian silent epic Cabiria featured a strongman character named Machiste. Machiste was the breakout character of this film and starred in several pictures of his own from 1915 to 1926, portrayed by the muscular actor Bartolomeo Pagano. The peplum boom was partially instigated by the success, both domestically and internationally, of the Italian production of Hercules in 1958, starring famed American bodybuilder Steve Reeves. This strongman vehicle led to a revival of machiste pictures amongst this peplum wave. I enjoy the simplicity and bravado of the peplum. I enjoy Roman-era fiction in general, and the peplum offers an easily digestible action-adventure beat-em-up or soft epic romp, rarely over 85 minutes in length. One of my favourite peplum films, in some respects my favourite, is 1963's The Fall of Rome, directed by Antonio Margheriti. Antonio Margheriti is well known as one of the major directors of Italian genre exploitation during the mid to late 20th century, in part I believe because some of his pictures have been embraced as genuinely quality entries in their respective genres, typically the spaghetti westerns and giallos, the two Italian genre trends which garner any noticeable acclaim in any circle. The Fall of Rome takes place right after the death of Emperor Constantine. The wicked proconsul Junio has taken control and unleashes an onslaught of persecution against Christians. Among them is our protagonist, the centurion Mark, who manages to escape with his sister Lycia. Attacked by an envoy of soldiers, Mark is saved by a barbarian tribe, but Lycia is struck by an arrow and succumbs to her wound. Eventually, Mark strikes an agreement with Junio that all Christians in Rome will be freed if he agrees to fight as a gladiator and triumph over his opponents. So what to say? This film has some very fine moments of model destruction. We have the burning buildings of the opening sequence as guards patrol the carnage for Christians to arrest or murder. We have the barbarian tribe unleashing a flood to ward off the Roman envoy. This sequence is quite entertaining. Then there is, of course, the climactic earthquake, as Rome literally falls. This one mostly takes place in the outdoors amongst wilderness. This is a nice change from the typical free interior sets of the peplum, throne room, prison, and rebel cave hideout. We mainly see open plains and green forests in this one. In the aftermath of that aforementioned flood sequence, the barbarians ride their horses through the flooded dead woods, which is a visually attracting series of shots. The action sequences in the middle of the film are relatively nice. I mean, it is some satisfying displays of savagery as barbarians leap from trees atop Roman patrols, or fire arrows into a storming cavalry. Nothing spectacular, but clean, efficient, and fun. Before one of these battles, our protagonist announces, "If we lose this battle, it will mean the fall of Rome." Everyone stand up and applaud if you are so inclined. This could be interpreted as one of these pro-Christian entries of the peplum wave. Many pepla appear to extol the virtue of Christianity, be it portraying Christians as persecuted by pagan indulgence, prisoners of materialist greed, or by portraying Christian-era Rome, the actual era after Emperor Constantine, as a glorious force of good. The Fall of Rome, however, seems more nihilistic by its end. One certainly expects it to follow the path of a basic pro-Christian diatribe, although two things make me question this, or at least how one note it might be. Mark forms a relationship with the essentially nihilistic barbarian Svetla. They have a conversation towards the film's end where Svetla heavily questions Mark's Christian faith. Mark attempts to, kind of tritely, explain, although she appears unconvinced. After the earthquake topples the city of Rome, Mark and Svetla, among the few survivors, encounter a child and his dying mother. What might have been considered a triumphant display of God's wrath against heathens has directly caused the utter suffering of the completely innocent as well. Mark and Svetla engage in no dialogue, no resolute confessions of a change in mind, as they adopt this child and wander out into the wilderness. A piece of nihilist Christianity? A film in favour of Christianity owing to the potentially godless, chaotic carnage of the natural world? Maybe, but it may also not be. This is a fun peplum bash. If you want to explore this genre, go check it out. If you like yourself a peplum romp, then you ought definitely seek this one out.